Welcome back, guys. This is Building a Million, one day at a time. So I'm sorry, it's been about a little over a month and a half since I've been on and posted a video for the finance channel. I have been posting twice or three times a week on my gamer channel, link posted right here. But I wanted to get back on. A lot of things have happened in the last month and a half or so with finance in the US. And some of those things I think are very important to prepare for. What kind of got my idea or my mind thinking on this idea was I was watching a movie called Up in the Air. It's with George Clooney. He's a traveling person that fires people. And I kind of got thinking while I was watching this movie, why do people get so angry and overwhelmed and sad and disappointed and, even suicidal when they lose their jobs?
So although I wish I were here with better news, the fact is that you and I are sitting here today because this will be your last week of employment at this company.
Why me?
What am I supposed to do now?
Am I supposed to feel better that I'm not the only one losing my job?
This is ridiculous. I have been a fine employee for over 10 years, and this is the way you treat me.
How you sleep at night, man? Huh? How's your family? They sleeping well at night? Electricity still on? Heat still on? Refrigerator full of food? Gas tank full of gas? Going Chuck E. Cheese this weekend or something? Not me. No, my kids, we're not gonna do anything.
This is what I get in return for 30 years of service for my company, and they send some yo-yo like you in here to try to tell me that I'm out of a job. They should be telling you you're out of a job.
And I kind of just mulled over it for a while. I was contemplating, what was it? Because if I lost my job tomorrow, the one that I currently have teaching, I really wouldn't think much about it. My life would change to the fact that I wouldn't have to get up at 6:50 every morning. I wouldn't have to go into work. But financially, my life wouldn't change that much. And I kind of contemplated us, and we've gone over this many, many times, how many people can't afford a $400 emergency bill, what they're spending every month, people that are making $100,000 to $150,000 a year are still living paycheck to paycheck, and how devastating it is if you lost your job. So what should you do? What should you be thinking of? What should you be doing right now to prepare for that? Because what's happening is going into a recession, we start seeing job losses. Now, one of the things, the jobs reports have been still pretty high, and that's what's bringing the Fed Chair Jerome Powell to continue to raise interest rates, which he just did again this last week. So the Federal Open Market Committee just raised the rates again, 75 basis points to, I think we're between 3.75 and 4% is the Fed's fund rate, which is what they loan money to the banks at. So then the banks turn around and loan it to us at even more higher rate. So that's going up because there's still a huge demand for jobs. People are still spending 100% of their paychecks in the middle class and upper middle class. And inflation's really staying about the same because of that. And so, what the Fed's trying to do is bring down the jobs report percentage and bring up unemployment a little bit, because that will slowly balance out how much people are spending. It'll balance out, hopefully, that inflation rate. So because of that, if the federal government is actually trying to cause a type of unemployment right now, or people to lose their jobs, and you start looking at these big tech companies like Tesla that just laid off a bunch of people, and Elon Musk bought Twitter and laid off, it was hundreds of people. Elon Musk just fired hundreds of people at Twitter. You had Cloudflare that came out with their earnings, and they were stating that they're gonna be having huge layoffs. A lot of these tech companies are now laying off people, saying we overhired in anticipation of growth, and yet that growth is going away now. And so we're needing to lay people off. People that were making $80,000 to $150,000 a year are now losing their jobs, and they were already living paycheck to paycheck. So yeah, that's extremely devastating for somebody that was anticipating having this job for the rest of their life, and now it's gone. And so what can we do, or what can you do specifically? Like I said, tomorrow, if I lost my job, I don't think it would faze me too much. But granted, if I lost all my income tomorrow, that would affect me some different than if I just lost my teaching position. Now, what am I doing and what should you do to prepare for this? Well, you should be saving more money, or you should be putting away more money just to combat inflation. And what I mean by that is to have money set aside for that higher cost of groceries, the higher cost of living and everything else. But you should have 3 to 6 months saved of your current net income. So if you're making, I don't know, let's say $3,000 a month. If you're making $3,000 a month, you should have $9,000 to $18,000 saved and prepared in case you lose your job. If you lose your job today, it could take you 3 to 6 months or even longer to find another job that's the same. Now you could go out and probably get a job that it's less desirable and get that tomorrow, and hopefully you would do that if you lost your job, so that you're not going from the $3,000 to zero for months and months and months, but you're going maybe from $3,000 to $1,500, right? So you can still afford some of those bills and you're not eating away at all that savings instantly. But you should hopefully have enough to saved up so that you're not going into home foreclosure, right? If you have zero saved and you can't find a job for 6 to 8 months, you run out of money, you stop paying your mortgage, you stop paying for your auto loan, you stop paying your student loans, you stop paying, the necessities that you once paid easily. Now those are going to cut out because now you have to just feed your family. You got to make sure the electricity's on. You got to make sure that in the wintertime the gas is on, so it's, your house is not cold. There's things that are necessities, whereas your mortgage may not be a necessity at the time because eating is more of a necessity. And so if you have that money saved up and are prepared, it's not going to hurt you as bad as if you have no money saved. Now, I get it. We're going into the recession now. We should have done this. I started this a year ago or 5 years ago, right? And some of us did. I mean, for me, I kind of anticipate, well, what if none of my rentals had tenants in them? I still have a fairly decent mortgage on my apartment complex. Could I afford that for months if there was no tenants in there? Or if I did lose my job teaching and I had no tenants, could I afford to get new tenants or look for another job in the next 6 months to a year without defaulting on my mortgages, without defaulting on my other loans? If I don't have other loans, but without defaulting on the things that are necessity, and being able still to live at least a somewhat comfortable life until I find that job. Because I don't want to have to cut back on everything. I don't want to be eating pork and beans and ramen noodles for 6 months because I can't afford to go to this grocery store and buy the foods that I'm normally buying, and keeping a normal diet, because your health is extremely important. And the next video I'm going to talk about is more about your health. But if you start having bad health, you're having to go to the doctor, take medications, that gets even more expensive. And so you can kind of see how it's a spiral downward once you lose your job. And that's why I think a lot of people are so nervous about losing their jobs. And it's so devastating because everything rides on having that job. And you don't realize that until it's gone, right? And so if you can prepare now by just setting as much as you can afford aside now to prepare for that downturn if it comes to you. I mean, what do we have to look back at? 2008, how many people lost their jobs? We had huge companies going bankrupt and people mass losing their jobs. Unemployment was astronomical. The government wasn't giving out stimulus then, and people were struggling. They lost their homes, they lost their cars, they lost, a lot of their growth over the years, all because of one moment in time. They lost their job and they couldn't afford to keep their house. They couldn't afford to keep the things that they were used to keeping. And it was gradual, right? First month, they just thought, well, we'll get a job. Second month, they couldn't get one. Third month, they couldn't get one. Fourth month, they couldn't get one. And then mortgage has been delinquent now for 3 or 4 months. And the bank's sending notices. And people are coming looking for your car to repossess it. And I mean, it's a downward spiral. And we had so many home foreclosures at the time in 2008 because of people not being able to afford to pay their mortgages. And so let's not let that happen again to you specifically. Let's try to get that preparation done now so that when the time comes, if it comes, heavens hope it doesn't, but just say it does, which it could, we're prepared, right? We have, $9,000 to $18,000 saved up, or even more. Maybe we have a year's worth of income saved so that we're prepared if something happens, that we don't have to skip a beat for that 12 months while we're looking for a new job, or we're waiting out the market, or we're doing whatever we have to. Guys, I do like making these videos. I again apologize for not being on here for the last month and a half. I was extremely busy with work and school and just myself doing things. And so I kind of just need to apologize for that, for being MIA for the last little while. But it's kind of also hard when I don't get any feedback on these videos. So if you do enjoy these videos, please comment down below what you enjoy about these videos. Just tell me anything. Tell me, are you prepared? Are you not prepared? How can you prepare? Tell me whatever is what you're feeling right now. But having some interaction on these videos would be very helpful. I know one of my videos, I've had a lot of interaction on the livable wage video. A lot of people commented on that, and it was good having like a little discussion. And I really enjoyed that video, but that was almost a year ago now. And so, yeah, if you like this video, comment down below, subscribe and like if you haven't already. And this is Building a Million, one day at a time. We'll catch you next time.